Welcome to One Word a Day. I'm Sophia, pilot into the universe of Chinese. Let's continue exploring ocean/industrial age concept. And yesterday we talked about synthesize. Of course, we're going to talk about analyze today. It's the opposing way of cutting something into smaller pieces versus yesterday is piecing together something into bigger picture. Okay, so how analyze was translated? I would imagine this is a little bit easier to conceptualize than synthesize. From small to bigger. This from big to small. We simply use our human motions of cut and chop to create such concepts, right? So 分析分, we have a knife in the middle, and then number eight. Number eight is almost like it's about a hyperbole. Like there's two curves in mathematical terms. I ever don't remember what they are called. That's like on each side of the y-axis, and then you have the knife cut in the middle, and you know something. It's an abstract thing. It can be anything separated into two pieces with a knife in the middle. I mean, clear enough. That's cutting, knife cutting specifically. Now, chopping, of course, is wood chopping. We have the wood on the left side, canopy of the tree, root of the tree, connected by the trunk of the tree. And then the right side is our axe symbol. Today it becomes like a unit of measurement for weight. Jin, roughly Chinese jin is about 500 gram. And this is supposedly kind of like a question mark thing. That's supposedly to be a log, the shape of kind of cylinder shape, right? And then you can see here is visibly a chunk of it already separated from the main body. And that's the result of the chopping. So sometimes the Chinese don't use a direct way to describe something, even if it's a physical thing. Like we talked about the tongue, because it's a shapeless, so we have to use the location to point inside the mouth, something that's thing inside the mouth. And we we can deduce that's the tongue. Versus here, we use the result of what chopping a log cut into two pieces to mean chopping the action. And well, the tool of chopping, the axe. Okay. Now we place the axe next to the tree. It's way like explicit. I don't even need to go for a second interpretation or something. It's as straightforward as wood chopping as that. So when we have cut knife, cutting something into pieces, or wood, cutting tree into logs, like a cutting logs into little pieces, both actions are taking apart a big thing and then look at a small segment. However, there is a twist of plot here. When we see wood chopped into smaller pieces, yeah, it's easy to understand. But in data analysis, this is kind of a subsetting. Like you are not looking into the whole data. Probably sometimes the data is too big, data set is too big, or you have no way to collect the whole thing. So you just take some samples, a subset of the whole picture, which you hope to see, right? By sampling, and then you're able to kind of use the sample to forecast the whole thing, how that would look like. But 分析 in today's context, when we say analyze something, it's not necessarily cut something bigger into smaller pieces. It's simply, it's more often look at something from different angles, from different perspectives, so that you can view some patterns emerging before you parse out something that way, like choose an angle and look at it from this one angle. You can, for a complicated thing, you can hardly describe the whole thing in one frame or one sentence. So by looking at it from different perspectives, kind of like the elephant and the blind man story, you can sort of have a better chance of piecing together something into a bigger picture. So analyze, the goal is to, from a small partial, like one dimension, look at something and then try to piece together by looking at it at enough angles uh, to have a whole picture, hopefully pursuing the whole picture. But most often we're going to be surprised something in the end. So that's a little bit different than the 分析, simply just cutting. In data analysis, there is such like slice and dice data kind of thing, right? So that's kind of a more of this following the cutting and chopping idea instead of slicing and dicing, which is a cooking term, because nowadays I guess cooking is cutting or chopping things in a kitchen. Nowadays, probably very few of us has this wood chopping experience. That originally this was where this concept of cutting something into smaller pieces is about. All right, 分析. Thank you for your time. See you another day.